Hi, everybody. Ah, wow. Dramatic shift. And harmony. I love the juxtaposition of these two tree oracle cards. It's very appropriate for how the energy is and feeling. All of you have been noticing, I'm sure, the intensity over the last week and communication issues, whether it be with your computer or with a friend or with a partner or with yourself. There is a lot of download coming in right now, a lot of change happening on the planet, a lot of adjustments to be made. There's a lot to pay attention to in a relaxed manner. Laura made us a bunch of candles for, you know how she writes on the candles and it says, in an easy and relaxed manner. That was a teaching I was giving a couple of years ago to everything that you were doing, to get a job in an easy and relaxed manner, to find a new house in an easy and relaxed manner, to write a book in an easy and relaxed manner. So the harmony card, right, that we got, the harmony of those two orbs, right, just beautifully moving together. Vesica piscis, right, that vesica piscis, it's not this, it's not that. Well, it can be this or that, but divine order and spiritual approach is this. It starts to blend together. And so it's very Tai Chi. It's very beautiful. It's very in harmony with the universe versus swimming upstream, holding on to the rock in the middle of the stream for dear life, you know, flowing, letting yourself flow, let go, right? Pisces, Virgo. So we're in a Virgo full moon, Pisces solar. So Pisces is all about letting go, right? It's all about releasing the past and letting the new happen. And so we have to let go of something. In Virgo, we are to create order out of our lives to strive. One of the key words for Virgo is striving for the ideal, to lift to the ideal, to reach to the perfection, right? To set the bar high. That's what Virgo does. Where Pisces swims in the ocean, whatever it is, the mystery. It doesn't try to control the ocean, right? Virgo might make dams and dikes and things like that. But Pisces is all about the mystery, right? So we have the opposites, right, of the literal and the mystery. So we work with those polarities whenever there's a full moon. And so this image, right, so I'm putting it this way now, the vesica piscis, right, that where the two lines, they intersect and you create the balance in the in-between. So most of the time we're not doing that. We're doing this world or that world. There's a right answer. There's a wrong answer, right? There's a good person or a bad person. There's a, you know, the good side or a bad side, right? And we start to practice this in everything so that when you're, you know, doing anything in your life, you start to move with the flow of your life rather than fighting against it. So when things happen, if you start to think of it that way, when things happen, that there's a reason. We're supposed to stop. We're supposed to slow down. You know, we're supposed to hurry up, whatever it is. Like we start to flow with the way that the rhythm is rather than the way we want it to be or the way we think it ought to be. We start to flow with it. So the idea of Pisces and Virgo, when you think of it, these opposite signs, and we're in Virgo, the ideal, the symmetry, the order. What I want you to think about as I'm talking and as you're kind of holding it with me is what in your life needs order. What in your life needs better hygiene? What in your life needs healthier energy? It might be our bodies, right? We might need to do something in our body differently. And it might be something in our organization of our stuff, to make things simpler, to get things more manageable, whether it be mental management or physical management. It might be to get your body in a better state. It's a really good time to work on things like that right now because there's a lot of assistance to it. We have the ability to focus right now. That's Virgo, right? To stick to the routine, to finish it, to keep going until it's finished, right? So we're looking, I'll show the chart for my astrology friends. You look at this beautiful, incredibly intense stellium, right? In Aquarius, Pluto, Mars, Pluto with Mars, oh my God. That's why it's so intense right now. So it's super intense in relationships. It's super intense in communications. There are power surges and also power struggle, The other stellium is in Mercury, with Mercury, Sun, and Saturn in Pisces. So the Sun is in Pisces, conjunct Saturn. Opposed the moon, of course, because that's what the sun and the moon are always opposed on a full moon. Sun conjuncts Saturn, right? Limitations. Can't quite get there at the speed you want to. Things are going harder than you want. Things are taking the time they need, whether you like it or not. It's probably a feeling of heaviness, even weightiness, depression, a little heavy, It's heavy energy. It's opposing the moon, which has to get it right. It's in Virgo. But it's trining Jupiter. Yay. So that means that whatever you set out to do right now, if you set out to start a regime of some kind or do something that you're going to do for the rest of the year, right? Work on something, or just for this month, it'll work. You've got so much support right now to be able to get things done, but in order and in that hard work kind of way where you stack wood. And what I wrote down was chop wood, carry water, right? Just put one foot in front of the other and do it. And even though it might be hard, what you're trying to do, you can do it. This is a time, there's a window for it right now. And so what do we have to let go? It might be sugar. Right? Or it might be a habit, or it might be a thought that you're holding about yourself. Whatever it is, what are you needing to let go in order to create this symmetry in your life, to reach for the ideal, to do with the reality, though. So it's not like you're just magical thinking, I'm going to make $1 million. It's not like that. It's more like within the scope of your real life, of what it really is, what can you achieve? And you'd be surprised what you can achieve. And I don't mean that in an achievement kind of way, like a goal, although it could be a goal. It's just, what can you be? If we took all the filters off, right, and we just let ourselves be, what would that look like? Who are you without any armor? Who are you without any filter? Who are we? And to let yourself be yourself. And we're having a power surge right now. And so part of the adjustment in the meditation will infuse it with that, is to calibrate yourself to the energies that are incoming, which are strong. And we need to be buffered in a way so that we can receive that powerful surge without doing any upset to the body or the brain or the nervous system. The thing I wrote down also was nervous energy, just like when you're going like this on the desk, it's like there's this tension. It's kind of an electrical kind of tension that's out there, and so people are sparky. Right? They're sparky. So you go back to the basics. Whenever energy is sparky, you put one foot back in front of the other. You do this, you simplify. Chop wood, carry water. You do the thing at hand. And so things get simpler again, right? And so that's sort of the way to work with big energy that are moving through. Even if you're with a person with big energy, right? You kind of just listen more, right? You don't try to compete to get a word in, you just kind of let them go and let them talk for a while, or until that natural rhythm starts to happen where we have that beautiful give and take in a conversation. But sometimes people need to vent, need to say, need to speak. So all that energy that we're working with in 1,000 ways in a day, you're finding your balance point on that. And with Virgo energy, full moon in Virgo, you can really organize yourself a little bit differently towards it, so that you're not reacting. Virgo's not reactive. Virgo's very practical, actually, So if you think of it that way, it'll help. And the other thing I wanted to just mention is that if Pisces is the disciple, right? The disciple of the teacher, right? Of the oversoul. If Pisces is in service to that, like the disciple is, then Virgo is the discipline, right? And that's that beautiful polarity to pray, to meditate, right? That discipline to meditate every day. That's a thing. And do we, how do we get ourselves into a rhythm like that where maybe it's really every day, right? And I always say, when I teach meditation classes where I'm doing a series in a row, just keep it simple so that you can do it, so you can succeed. And so I give the famous 5-minute practice, which everybody thinks, no problem. But it is hard to do even 1 minute every day, let alone a whole meditation of some kind. That's why I have on SoundCloud 800 meditations. They're meant to help you get in state, because it is hard to, on your own, especially in the beginning, to get yourself in those states. What's great about learning state meditation, though, is that anytime you're nearby something that's in the same vibration, yourself recognizes it. Because those meditations are built to open up the third eye, open up the crown chakra, open up the heart chakra, right? They're teaching how to be in that state by word, by sound, by the literal sound of my voice, right? Or a person that's teaching like that. But in my case, my sound, I'm creating state, right? And in that state, we're kind of, we flow into it, and we are able to do it too. And then as we're able to do it too, we can recreate it and we can recognize it. And that starts getting interesting, because now you start to know tribe, right? Who your friend, who will be your friend that you come upon in a party of 100 people. That person. You can feel it because of the state. There's a similarity, and you start to be able to recognize state, create state, stay in state. And state meaning high vibration, right? Higher and working in higher vibration, even when you get sucked down into low vibration for whatever reason, that you are buoyant and you kind of climb up the ladder, you get back up. And the reason you do that you climb back up, or you bounce back up, or you float back up, is because you know that you're out. You know that you're out of flow. You know that you've got sucked down, right? And you're not mad at the situation for being sucked down. You just are. And then, because it's really us that's doing it, right? We don't have to be, but we are, by circumstance, get triggered and start going into a place where we, why is it like this kind of attitudes? And that brings the vibration down. When we're self-aware, when we're literally practicing consciousness, you start to go, I'm thinking negative thoughts, I'm thinking hard thoughts, I'm thinking hate thoughts, right? Against me, against someone, or against it, whatever all that is. All of that brings your vibration down. And so we're working all the time by practicing meditating, becoming aware of our own energy, what our inner dialogue is, what is the wallpaper that's behind, so that you start to be happier. It's not that you're going to be going around joyful all the time or anything like that, but you're not sucked into sort of the group thought of fear that's there, and the group thought of even our own egos, of agreeing with our own ego's fears. We start to say, oh, that's my ego. That's my ego's fear. That's not necessarily the reality at all. It's what I'm afraid of, right? So you start to work with things that you're afraid of, work with the energy of ourself, so that we can raise the vibration back up. So when you're around low vibration things, you can feel it, And if you're around a lot of low vibration things, you get tired, you get exhausted, right? Because you're pushing against, and that doesn't work. To push against the low vibration, actually, like a tar baby, it sucks you in. Now you're in the moment that we're judging the thing that we don't like. In order to judge it, we're matching it. We're being the thing that we don't want. So, the answer is always love, capital L, high love. We love the condition. We have heart towards the problem or the issue that we're struggling with. And it's not this, I shouldn't feel this way, right? It's allowing of everything. It's allowing of everything, right? The dark and the light, right? It's allowing of everything. So Virgo discipline applied to Piscean discipling, right? I love those two words. I use them all the time. They come from a similar root, which is to learn, basically. Discipling and discipline both have a root of desir, I believe it is, and it means to learn. So how you're learning, like if I want to learn a new habit, I want to take a walk every day, right? I'm going to meditate every day. I'm learning, right? And discipling is you're learning this way, vertical learning, horizontal learning, right? Learning information, learning the best way, learning the formula, learning the recipe, right? We learn it on the horizontal. Vertical learning is mind-blowing, because when you start to get comfortable with that relationship, you don't need a recipe, because it's all intuitive. It's all by feel. You start to know where to be, where to stand, how to manage yourself, where you are, which is the number one thing. I always liken it to the mall maps. When you go to the mall map and it's 3 stories and Nordstrom's is over there and Target is over there, you got to know you are here. Because otherwise you could walk around in circles all day and not know where you are. And there's more than one floor. So you might be perfectly doing the right or rhythm for yourself, except you're on the 1st floor, not on the 3rd floor. So it's very important to know where we are. So that's called self-awareness. And that's called self-honesty too. Self-honesty is not mean. Self-honesty is not critical. It's just seeing what it is. I'm sad. I'm scared about that. I don't know, right? These more vulnerable feelings, I get to know what I have. From there, I can then design, I guess, the plan to where I want to go from there. But I first have to know where I am. And so how much are we in denial? How much are we in magical thinking? How much are we in confusion? How much are we looking to somebody else to do it? All the thousands of ways that we kind of don't know where we are. And so when we meditate, you are practicing, I am here. That's it. I am here. I am. And so you're learning to root yourself in the present, root yourself with the heart, root yourself with the soul, so that you become this congruent being where the inner and the outer are the same. So, and as you know, and as I teach all the time, you can't skip steps. So your next step's always the one that's right in front of you. It doesn't ever go away. It's always, no matter where you turn, there it is. It might be in different shapes and different colors and different forms, but it's still the same step, you know? And so with this practical energy that we're working with, so the two energies, right? Harmony and dramatic shift. How do you do that together, right? And I would say you can. You can have dramatic shift. And the reason we don't have sometimes harmonious, dramatic shift is because of our resistance. We're scared of it. Well, what if I don't want that? I remember saying to my teacher when I was like 21, something like that, he's saying, well, you can never get off the path, Diana. And I was like, well, what if I want to? And I remember this sort of rebelliousness about it. And now, you can never get off the path is the most soothing thing to me. You can't get off the path. You're on the path. There's no path. There's nothing to get off of, right? But we can be rebellious towards ourselves. We can create resistance, right? Or create so much crosstalk in our head about our forward motion that we're just standing there sort of dog paddling in the middle of the ocean, where you're just spending all this energy and nothing's really happening, right? So relaxed motion, relaxed effort, which is Tai Chi, which is yoga, right? The relaxed effort. And in America, we, of course, did power yoga and all of that because, the oxymoron, right? More, no pain, no gain. We learn this thinking in our Western ways. And yoga is all about the relaxed effort. It's all about the exhalation. It's all about Vesica Piscis. It's all about the blending and harmony of energies so that the dramatic shift can be harmonious. The only reason it's not harmonious is because of the resistance. So those are the thoughts I want to work with inside the meditation. And we'll do that now. So my candle, you have a candle, you can light it, or you can use mine as your candle. Or even better, you can just imagine lighting a candle flame in your own cave center. That you have this light in the center of the heart of the head, in the cave center. Yeah. And just get yourself comfortable and harmonious in your environment. So the practice I want to give you, I'll give it to you now actually, because we'll use it to start our meditation. And that is the practice of kind eyes. So the practice of kind eyes is when you look at something, there's love in your eyes, right? Now it's not love, my face could be like the Mona Lisa, right? Just very neutral, but there's heart, and that's really what you're doing is you're having heart. Your eyes are chakras too, right? They're sub-chakras. 7 major chakras, but there's 49 minor, right? And 2 eyes, 2 palms, chakra, all, there's chakras everywhere in your body. And there's more than that even, but that's a place to start, to talk about it. So if your eyes are chakras, and you bring your heart energy into your eyes as you see, as you perceive, right? How you see and how the thing that you're seeing, right? Whether it be a tree, right? Or a person or an animal, there's this, all of a sudden, this very different relationship that can happen instead of when the eyes are guarded. And the eyes are guarded very quickly, happens almost instantaneously. It's like this second eye, right? And have you ever seen someone smile without their eyes involved, right? It's a strange thing to see because the eyes hopefully are reflecting the smile that's happening. So kind eyes doesn't need a smile. Kind eyes are a state. They're a state. And I talk about it a lot as the state of awe, right? The state of awe. So as I behold you and I'm seeing you right now, there is this humble, right? This wow. As I behold you, there is a wow in that. There's an awe in that, rather than a competition, rather than a jealousy, rather than a not good enoughness, all those things, all those insecurities, right? And so when we're going to turn inward in our meditation, kind eyes out, kind eyes in. I don't know which is harder. They're both interesting to work with those energies. Sometimes it's easier out, sometimes it's easier in, sometimes it's impossible either way. The more off we are, the more impossible it all is, But when we return to the heart, then, if you've ever meditated with others, I often do, people will say to me when I'm meditating with them, and we open our eyes, they'll say, "Oh, you look so beautiful," right? It's not, I didn't look different. It's their eyes are different, right? They're seeing me, and I'm seeing them, and they're so beautiful too, right? It's because that for that time where we turn off the brain and turn off the measuring and the comparing and all the ego stuff, right? Turn all those knobs down to 0 or 1 or something, 0. Then everything is beautiful, all of it. And so you can cry because of how that tree looks. And it goes this way, though. What's that tree at Point Lobos? It sort of bends off the cliff. It's totally imperfectly perfect. Right? So it's not like this very balanced tree. It's this tree that grows out, right? And we all are, in our uniqueness, different. And it's beautiful. So when we go into the meditation, which is what I want you to practice during the week, though, as you look out through your eyes, we're going to do it in as we self-see. Can you have kindness in your perception towards yourself? Right? Or is it judgment? So that's the thing. And so much of that is unconscious. It's happening. We're not even knowing it's happening. And so that's the self-awareness thing and the self-honesty to say, wow, this is happening. And then let's say it is happening, some negative thought towards the self. Can you switch it? Can you just go, I deeply and completely accept myself? With that, So take a breath. And as your eyes close, meet yourself like your soul sees you. Wow, right? That's wow. That's awe. And see your soul. That's wow. That's awe. That there's this energy that is infinite. That is you. That there is this energy that is infinite. That is you. Om. 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 And because we came in with kind eyes, you might be experiencing this meditation differently than you ever have in your whole life. Because do we know have we ever even thought of coming in like that, like this, like this? When you were born, just born, someone went, right? They took their breath away. The miracle of this newborn. There's nothing different now. Can you have kind eyes, kind thought? If your eyes are kind, you can't think hateful things. When you're in your heart, you cannot do harm. Do you know that? It's impossible. Not even to ourselves. Kind eyes, practice kind eyes, looking inward. And as you're aware of the soul, or your higher self, of the overlighting soul, that overlighting infinite awareness of who we are, who you are, feel the kind eyes of your own soul's knowing and perception of you. And if you're doing that, it will bring tears to your eyes, because there is no judgment. There's no timeline. There's no you should have. How could you? Why did you? There's no interrogation. There's no you have to prove it. Right? There's just only love. Kind eyes. Sensing that, experiencing that. Kind eyes, a moment. Even in this meditation, if there's only a moment, that's enough. Do you know this? That's practically a miracle. To have a moment of kindness, no shame, no shame. Love. And so now go into the silence, into this state. This state of kindness. We worked on this last class. I deeply and completely accept myself. Kindness. Into the silence now. Practice. I don't know what you're seeing on your screen if you would look, but don't look yet. But let's say it's me, or let's say it's everyone. Can you open your eyes and see like that right now? Feel it. Close your eyes. Come back into the state of self-compassion. As you practice self-compassion, you are able to have compassion for another. No comparison, no judgment. Kindness. Open your eyes. Kindness. Close your eyes. Kindness. Rest in this. Heal in this. Be blessed by this. Kindness. That our inner world is not the enemy. That our outer world is not the enemy. Kindness. No enemy. All one. All one. As your heart unfolds and opens, so does your face. So does your voice. So do your thoughts. So does your life. It opens. Kind eyes towards yourself. Now, recognizing the vibration, now memorizing it, of kindness, of non-judgment. Kindness, the state, the vibration of kindness, letting it move through your body as you breathe it in and breathe it out. Feel yourself breathe in kindness into your brain. Breathe in kindness into your skin, everywhere. All your pores open. Breathe in kindness to the disintegrated parts of your body, if there are. thighs, belly, sexual organs, kindness to your body, to your feet. Maybe you have heard sounds that have hurt your ears. Breathing in kindness, healing your ears, healing your eyes, letting your heart be everywhere, in the soles of your feet, in the crown of your head, in the palms of your hands, and in your eyes. And in your mind's eye now, sending this kindness out to your house, to your people, to your neighborhood, to your town, expanding and expanding, to your city, to your country, to all the countries, and all the cities, and all the towns, and all the villages, and off the gridders, wherever they are, wherever we are. And then expand it to the mountains. Kind eyes. We're so more generous with mountains than we are with people. Kind eyes to the mountains. Kind eyes to the clouds. Kind eyes to our oceans. Our heart. The earth's heart that pulses in and out. Kind eyes to all things, beings. A mountain is a being, a forest is a being, a tree is a being within the being, right? The grass is a being, the waters are a being, the earth is a being. If you have a crystal, you know that's a being, right? And all beings and sentience, the animal kingdom, the human kingdom. Kind eyes. Kind eyes. And then breathing it in again and out. Inside your own body. Let it touch you. Let it go through your bloodstream. Let it move through your breathing. Let it move through your atoms, your cells. Kind eyes. Breathing in kindness. Breathing out kindness. Breathing in kindness. Breathing out kindness. You can change this word to forgiveness or love or compassion or peace. Breathing in peace. Breathing out peace. Breathing in forgiveness. Breathing in forgiveness. Breathing out forgiveness. My new favorite is just calm. Breathing in calm. Breathing out, calm. Until it starts to feel natural to let your breath get deeper and fuller. And when you're ready to, transitioning out of this meditation, and when you open your eyes, what do you see? And when you close your eyes, what do you see? You see? It's magic. It's alchemy. It's love. So that's your practice to take out into your world as you drive in traffic and go to work and have to stand in line and, or you just looking in the mirror. Oh my God, is that a practice? Can you look at yourself with kind eyes in a mirror? That's a piece of work. I'll talk about that sometime. But it's the same thing that we just did, harder. But it can be done, and you will morph in time from young to old, from man to woman. You shapeshift right before your own eyes. And you see the wonder of who you are and have been and will be. So much to say, but that's enough for now. And feel free to stay in this state if you're in it. I let the music move till it finishes. So you feel free to stay in the meditation if you like. The meditation will be posted on YouTube tomorrow, and as will be audio only on SoundCloud, which this will be a good one on SoundCloud to work with if you want to. And the next full moon is, March 24th. And we might do it on Monday, the 25th. I'm not sure yet. And the next meditation class is going to be Monday, March 11th. So if you're interested in that, just watch for my emails or get on my email list. And I will see you next time. And I thank you. And I can feel your kind eyes. Thank you. Thank you, really. It's a healing, as is the opposite, not a healing, right? So you can see, the gift of that we give each other is unmeasurable, immeasurable. So I'll see you next time. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you soon.